Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Glenallachie 10-year-old cask strength batch 7. Dustin, this is Billy Walker's, isn't it?
Yep.
It says his name on it. That's our dude, man. He was killing it. Glendronach before, wasn't he?
Man.
Yeah, that's what made us love it. So,
Epic.
let's see what he's doing here. All right, so batch 7 of this 10-year-old cask strength. Dustin comes in at a whopping 56.8% ABV.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about the cask maturation.
So, Mike, I, once again, forget the name of the wine cask. We're just going to say they use a red wine cask. Mm-hmm. And they use a sherry cask, which, you know, Billy Walker's kind of famous for. Bourbon casks, and then they also use virgin oak. This is batch 7. And if you go look up, you know, like on whiskey base and stuff, Mike, you'll see like batch 1 was pretty limited. Mm-hmm. And they kind of ramped it up each batch. I think batch 6 got up to like 40,000 or something. This one came in like over 60,000 bottles. So they aren't ramping up slowly. They're ramping up massively on these.
He's here to do business and sell whiskey.
He's definitely here to sell whiskey.
And I tell you what, this is a dark whiskey. Is this natural color?
Yeah.
Unchill filtered?
Unchill filtered, natural color. They're doing those things right, for sure.
For sure. All right, let's get to it, buddy. We've had a few Glenallachies.
Yeah.
It's the story we were going into more and more.
Well, this has been sitting at your place for like 3 months now, Mike. We've been just kind of kicking the can on reviewing this.
We got whiskey to review.
We got a chance to have this with a few friends, so we've kind of gotten a few chances to try this one.
Oh, you went on that big bourbon rampage, so.
Yeah.
An Irish whiskey, so.
Brought some Irish. You know, had to mix it up for the fans.
I got a pile of scotch right there for us to review, buddy. All right, so, Billy, we're rooting for you. Let's see what we got going on in this 10. Big, bold, red wine cask. And I can say, this isn't sherry. This is some red wine that I'm not familiar with. It almost kind of comes off like that Lefroy port and wine. It's definitely not port, whatever that red wine and port thing was.
Yeah.
The red wine part of it. What, I got some church casks here? Is that what's going on here?
That's actually what I was going to say. Is this is a church wine.
It smells, okay, so the red wine, it smells very thin to me. I guess this is what I'm getting. It smells thin, it smells unsubstantial, but it's there. And it's almost, I'll say it again, like crab apple wine. You know, like that smell like from a distance. It almost comes off as a weird red wine smell.
Now, are you getting brownies on here?
I got to get past the red
okay.
wine. Now, what I was going to say was beneath it, I'm starting to get some chocolate. I wouldn't go so far as the brownies, but give me a second. What are you picking up, my friend?
I'm struggling to get past the brownies, Mike. I'm getting brownies, a little bit of walnut, and then I'm getting, it's almost like these brownies were baked on a big old piece of oak. Because there's some virgin oak cask getting in here big time. And yeah, there is definitely cheap communion red wine coming in here.
And there's a char note to it.
There is definitely some char.
You said walnut, but it's almost like, you know, if you have like a kind of a medium level steakhouse and they have like the peanuts and they have them crushed on the floor. Mm-hmm. It's almost like that peanuts crushed on floor smell.
Yeah, I could almost go macadamian or something either.
Yes, yeah, some shell of a nut. Salty.
Definitely salty. I think that's coming from the wine though. I think that red wine's like bringing in like soy sauce.
Yeah, soy sauce. Like, that's a good way to describe it.
Mixture of soy sauce and communion wine.
And I know that sounds terrible. It doesn't necessarily come off as terrible as that sounds, but those are the notes.
That note to me is that terrible. The brownie, however, is making this thing really nice because that brownie is killing it.
It's a chocolate note to me, but it's dense. You're right. It's as dense as the color of that whiskey.
It's like somebody's baking brownies over on your stove, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Nuts are in the brownie. The peanut shell's in the brownie.
Let me tell you, the alcohol's not hiding here either, Mike. I am definitely picking up that nice heat. This is not subtle. The youth is not hidden on this alcohol on the nose. Not hidden at all.
Ooh.
It's spicy on the nose even.
As soon as you swallow, you get a red wine kick, boy. Followed instantly by cinnamon spice. It is hot cinnamon. It's lasting, too. Chocolate kind of comes in here at the end, man, but that spice is dominating the palate the second you swallow. Red wine, before you swallow on the palate, and a little bit of chocolate. As soon as you swallow, cinnamon, red wine, then a little more cinnamon. Dustin?
Sounds more pleasant what I'm getting. I'm getting virgin oak, and more virgin oak, and more virgin oak. I'm getting a little bit of chocolate. I'm getting some smoked walnut and some raw almond coming together here. Yeah, like I said, the chocolate's there, but and then I'm just getting bitter oak, like virgin oak, more virgin oak. God, this oak is not doing it for me. My mouth burns from a mixture of alcohol and wood spice.
So spicy.
I'm not even getting cinnamon. Like cinnamon would be a little bit, which I'm not a big cinnamon guy, but that'd be a little more interesting. This is just bitter oak. I will say up front, pretty creamy. Actually has a nice mouthfeel.
It's oily.
It's very oily. So all that's going for it.
Dense.
Tell you what, Mike, this is just making me think. No matter what Billy Walker covers it with, he's still got a pig and he's trying to put lipstick on it.
It's early.
Like his distillate just isn't good. The distillate they've got to start to build everything off of is just not good. Is what I'm coming back to right now.
I need more water in this. I wasn't cheap with the water to begin with. Our hardcore fans will know that I don't have a straw. We'll save that for later.
Actually, Mike, I'm going to probably put more on here too.
You got it.
As soon as I put that on there, I smelled it. I'm like, it doesn't smell any different.
Nope.
It hasn't done anything.
It did nothing to it. I thought I threw a dagger at it and it hit the wall. I missed by 6 feet. I was trying to feel around like maybe I didn't. Okay.
Okay.
Now, more of the cinnamon and more of the chocolate note is there. I can see where you'd say it's brownie. It's dense, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, the chocolate's gone for me now here. Sorry, the brownie's gone for me. The chocolate's still here, but now it's more, I don't know. It's just kind of generic chocolate number 3, you know?
My grandma right now is right there cooking, and she's putting almonds, you were right about that note, in some chocolate, whipping up a base, and she's drinking $4 wine while she does it. That is what I'm getting out of this experience.
She didn't pay that much for this wine. This is $2 Chuck, man.
Yep. The water took down the wine note. Good. That's in the positive side. Pros and cons. It's a pro. That's what we got to do here. Took down the water note. Little chocolate note still there. I never got brownie, but it's a dense chocolate note. The spice is a little bit higher, which I'll call that a push. A bit astringent. A bit, the oak's weird.
I don't know why they made this, man.
Every time we've tried this before, this is why we haven't reviewed it. Every time I try it, I'm like, give it more time. Maybe that terrible red wine note will dissipate or move in an interesting direction.
I keep waiting for the red wine to integrate, and I keep waiting for the virgin oak to kind of find its place. And I think we're at half a bottle. I'm like, I brought it here. It was up to like the label.
Dustin, I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't know either.
It's like the Lefroy 28. I don't think it's going to happen.
I bought this bottle back in like March, Mike. Just to give you an idea. I mean, this has been open since I got this as soon as it hit the UK.
Yeah, it's August here now. But Okay, so let's get to it.
One try just for the hell of it.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of cask influence. Mm-hmm. Pro. I don't like all of the cask. Con. It's better than not being interesting. Pro. It's not as good as being a good whiskey. Con. Where am I at here, Dustin? Where?
Yeah, this is a tough one to score, Mike, because I gotta say, it nails a couple things that I think it deserves credit for.
Sure.
Mouthfeel.
Sure.
Heavy, rich, creamy. It's cask strength, natural color. All of those are good things. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, that instantly should say it's an 80. Problem is, I find this finish to be disjointed. I don't understand how they chose to blend these casks together. And this falls into like where there's like the subjective stuff where you're like, well, you may like this note, you may like this structure. I don't know why if you like this, fine. But to me, this is inherently a poorly put together, poorly structured whiskey.
Agreed. He did some Glendronachs that were what we always consider were off profile that took in a certain direction that I really enjoyed. This is batch 7. I maybe have tried batch 4. This seemed a little different. Maybe
that one was just bourbon and cherry.
Yeah, maybe this one is a huge outlier.
Also, 4 is supposed to be legendary, and this one has definitely not quite gotten.
So yeah, I mean, so you get not his best work. It happens. You know what I'm saying? I liked.
But that one was like a 20,000 bottle release. This is 60-something thousand, almost 70.
Well, the more it gets, the more.
Well, but what I'm getting at is that I feel like they're trying to put out too many bottles. Quality suffering.
Got to make money, buddy.
Yeah.
Got to make money. I'm not saying you're wrong. Let me ask you this, though. It's a 10-year-old whiskey. Does it come off 10 years old?
You told me this was 6 years old. I believe you.
Yeah, it comes off young. That's my point.
I think it comes off younger than 10.
It doesn't come off like it has enough age on the cask, and the cask seem odd, a choice to put together.
Yeah.
You said disjointed. I just think it's an odd mix. I Right away, I thought Lefroy Port and Wine Cartridge from a couple years ago. And as soon as I said it, I'm like, well, you tried something different. I don't like anything that you tried. And that's kind of where I'm at here. Hard whiskey to score. Man, I've not been kind today, and I'm not going to be kind right now. So I'm just going to go with a number that I've always liked because it was a good year. 84.
75.
Jeez. I'm guessing. I don't know.
I was going to do 80 just on the basis of the mouthfeel, but I don't want to give too much credit for the fact that you chose to bottle this barrel proof or cask strength.
Yeah, because anybody can do that.
Yeah, anybody can do that. The thing is, whoever blended this together, and I'm assuming it's Billy.
He oversaw it.
I don't know what he was thinking about with this one. I don't know why he thought this structurally made sense. To me, again, it just doesn't seem like the virgin oak and that wine cask are just not playing well with anything else in here, and they're not playing well with each other. In fact, if anything, they're going at each other, and they're just creating off notes between the two. I don't get it.
There's two ways to look at this. One is, have you ever heard the phrase, better the devil you know?
Yeah.
The rest of that phrase is better the devil you know than the one that you don't. Meaning, maybe he covered up something that was even worse that we don't know about.
He's trying to cover up the distillate.
Or whatever it is.
That's got to be what it is.
Or the alternative is, they thought this was quality. And this is where we're at.
Billy's getting old.
I don't know.
He's 80-something.
But let me tell you something. Coach is only good as his players. You know what I'm saying? Phil Jackson was good because he had Kobe and Michael Jordan and Shaq and Scottie Pippen. We didn't have those guys and he was working for the Knicks. Different story. They hired him for a reason.
I think he bought them for a reason.
Whatever. I'm sure he'll get a turnaround at some point. This just isn't the bottle. That's all.
I think Billy, unfortunately, for the first time ever, has come into a place that really doesn't have the quality cask, doesn't have the quality distillate.
It's a rebuild.
It doesn't have the history, and he's trying to build it from scratch. And Billy, good luck, man. I know you spent about $100 million on barrels. We're rooting for you because I want another Glenallachie.
It's good. It's going to take time. But again, it's a rebuild. You know, he took over the Chicago Bears. It's a shit show. You know, nothing's there. Cupboard's dry. You know, do the best you can.
Yeah.
We'll limp along until we have some good draft picks. Again, cupboards were bare. Bad salary cap situation. Hamstrung with bad contracts.
Yeah.
If you're not a football fan, you may not understand what I'm saying. Football fans know what I'm saying. I'm a Bears fan, man. You know how bad it is. This is what I'm talking about. Anyway, those are our thoughts on the whiskey. We will continue to try him because he's produced good results before. This just isn't one of them. In our opinion. Dustin, until next time, what do you wish, folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you then.